Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Unfound Podcast Channel. I'm Ed Denzel, Unfound's host. This is actually a redo of a video I already did, but for some reason, the audio is no good on that video. I thought it was good, and then it's not. So I am redoing this. So let's get right into this. And of course, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Consider hitting the join button below here on YouTube. This is for the episode of The Disappearance of Chris Gulley. This came out on August 23rd of 2024. What you see on the screen are the 4 important locations detailed in the interview that I did with Melody. Now, if you want to see where this is compared to the rest of Chicago, you can see it's right there is where we're talking about, South Chicago, as Melody talked about in the interview. I remind you that when you see blue dots on the screen, that means that's the walking time, and that's what I have on here for now. And what it's saying is, and really, I'm not sure walking or anything is necessarily important to what I'm going to be talking about here. But I think it is important to notice that you can start here at this location where Kenshon Ward lived at the time. Go the whole way down to the park and then whole way up around here to eventually where Chris something happened. And it only takes a half hour. It's only 1.4 miles to do this loop right here. Very, very close. 1.4 miles. That's it. That is it. A square, roughly, that is about, its border is 1.4 square miles. Not very big square. So let's go through these locations to explain them and show you how close they all are. First, we have Marquette Park, which is down here. This is the screen area. I just marked it by this dot right here. I do not know specifically where Kenshon Ward was shot, but he was shot somewhere in this park. There were many people there. Many people witnessed this, but nobody wants to come forward and say who it was. Allegedly, nobody saw an identity of the shooter. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that or not. But I think what's important to know is that it doesn't seem like anybody else who was there got shot. This is not what we would call a drive-by. Person in car slowly going by, somebody hanging out the passenger side window and just shooting into a crowd. That obviously did not happen. And it was not that because there was only one person who was hit. That was Kenshon. Something important to remember. That happened down here. Then next was, let's just say, the unsolved death, possible murder of Shante Bohanan. Well, you'll remember a few weeks, seemingly she and Kenshon were in a relationship. And the story is that she went over to his house or apartment, whatever it is, at 6444 South Campbell Avenue. And then she was eventually found nowhere near here, but dead in a trash can with a plastic bag over her head. Cause of death, at least publicly, it's been stated as being unknown. Decide what that means. But there was a story that put out by her family that she had called saying someone had a gun to her head and there might have been a request for money or something like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to believe that. Seemingly, she went over to Kenshon Ward's place where he had lived. That's seemingly where Brandy Jones lived. That's where Kenshon's mother lived. And something happened after that Shante ended up being deceased. Once again, this happened a few weeks, not the next day after Kenshon was murdered, but a few weeks later. That happened right here. However, where she was found, I don't know if I ever did see an address for that. Next, so this is July, where Kenshon gets murdered, and then 3 weeks later, Shante. Then in December of 2016, we come up to the abduction of Joanna Ward. That happened right there where I'm circling with the cursor. Right here. Seems, in my opinion, this was planned. Somehow somebody knew that she would be on that street, given that a rental car was used right here. Right on the street. Broad daylight. 1 something in the afternoon. Right there. And then finally, of course, the reason the episode was made, Chris Gulley on the night of October 9th, so roughly 10 months after Joanna was abducted, Chris is out here and something happens and he goes missing. It is right down the street right here at the intersection of 64th Street and Campbell Avenue right here. And you can see how close it was to Kenshon Ward's place, how close it is to Marquette Park right there. And if you're wondering where Chris was actually living at the time, he lived way over here somewhere. Way over here, getting closer to Jackson, Andrew Park over there. He did not live in this area. He was over here with his girlfriend, Akea, and seemingly he forgot his charger, and that's why he was still in the area, and this is what happened. I will be honest with you that I'm open to the idea that maybe he forgot that charger on purpose so he could stay in the area to hang out with his buds or something. That has to be considered. So this is the map. It's as startling a map as I've ever done in the history of Unfound. We're coming up on, of course, we've been around for about 8 years now, 345 disappearances. To talk about this all in proximity to each other is something. On the other hand, we know Chicago, violent place. And maybe we'd have to do a long-term study on this area of Chicago to get a better handle on, is this really, really, really unusual? Or is it more closer to the norm? I'm thinking it's unusual, if only for the fact that Joanna, and there can be no doubt that Joanna and Chris knew each other. We have the picture of them together, and within 10 months of each other, they're let's say kidnapped or something within a couple 100 feet of each other. The odds of that being done by two totally unconnected groups for totally unconnected reasons, I think the probability of that, or the possibility of that, is very low. I'd have to believe the statistics say that somehow they're connected somehow. How? I don't know. I don't know. And given that Chris is out there that night, seemingly he didn't put it all together in his head that Joanna's abduction could be any way connected to him. It didn't tell him that he needed to watch out for himself. And something happened. So there you go. That is the map. As far as maybe Joanna being over here at Marquette Park when Kenshon got shot, Shante, Chris, there's some beliefs out there that they might have been there. And then maybe that does connect the whole thing. I don't know. I don't know if those are hard, cold facts or anything. I don't know if Joanna ever said she was there. I don't know if Shante, given that she and Kenshon might have been in a relationship, I guess it makes sense that she might be there. But nobody has any word about Chris being there. I don't know. But once again, it started here at Marquette Park. We went over here to 6444 South Campbell Avenue, where Shante was, at least for a while, on that one day. Then we go over here to Joanna, where she got abducted, and then right here where Chris went missing. So there you go. That is the map for the map analysis for the disappearance of Chris Gulley. I certainly hope that we can cover Joanna Wright's disappearance all on its own. Maybe it'll give us more insight into why her family thinks she got abducted and what it has to do with Chris. If anything, I'll do my best. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you again very soon.